before I start my session, all the time I give my short introduction. My name is Aamir Ali Ansari, and I'm working as head of data division in Treehouse Consultancy in Dubai, UAE. I'm MCSA reporting certified, and I call myself as open data specialist. And I'm also maintaining my blog, EZPowerBI.com. So every Saturday, I share my knowledge and with community, and basically this is my usual practice. Like whoever is interested and they are working on Power BI, so it's good to share your knowledge, and based on that, people will definitely learn new things, and they will implement the same in their workplace. So this is a kind of uh, my usual practice. So this session is basically regarding do's and don'ts of custom visual, because whenever we talk about custom visuals, if you see that we have a lot of out of the box visuals available with Power BI. So the question always comes that why we should go for custom visuals. So uh, in usual cases, you always want to have some additional functionality in your reports, and you want to bring life to your report, because sometimes your audience or the report consumers are not very tech savvy, or you can say that they are not having very good understanding of statistics or analytics. So in those cases, you have to create a different kind of experience for them. So those out of the box, or you can say the visuals which are coming, the straightforward ones, they are mostly the data centric, and they are providing like analysis and generic reporting features. But the additional features which are required are sometimes for to impress your viewer are missing in these visuals. So you have to consider, like, this is a very tricky part, like which custom visual you need to select, and whether it is going to be beneficial for your consumer or report viewers. So this is your call, basically. Like as you go in your profession and you start analyzing those visuals, you are going to decide like which visual will be best fit for these kind of consumers. So sometimes these reports are created for large audience, like in seminars or in exhibitions, where people are simply just spending a little bit of time and watching those particular reports, and you have to create some wow factors to attract them and glue them to your reports. Sorry. So this is something which I usually share these points. Another thing which is like you can enhance and extend your report, because there are some very specialized custom visuals. They come with a variety of additional functionalities. So those functionalities are not available in standard visuals. So you select those custom visuals, and you basically incorporate those custom visuals in your report. Definitely in these enhanced and extended, or you can say the specialized visuals, require some additional steps which are different from the generic sort of visuals. But to bring that kind of additional or expert functionality in your system, you have to go through those additional steps. Finally, for those who want to dig further and they are not satisfied, or you can say that the use case is not supporting the available custom visual, they then go towards the custom visuals. They develop their own visuals, and then they incorporate that required functionality within their report. I have the main screen right now. The main report which I'm showing you right now is actually using both custom visuals and this out-of-the-box visual. But if you see over here on the right side, you have a clear distinction, like the visuals which are on top of this particular bar or available in this particular section are basically standard or out of the box visuals. But in the second row, you have those custom visuals which you have incorporated in your Power BI file. But once again, even in your out of the box visual, there are certain visuals which are dependent visuals. Like over here, if you see that this is ArcGIS map for Power BI, so I categorize it as a dependent visual. Others are independent visual. So the difference between independent and dependent visuals is like it is totally relying on your Power BI file, and it is not going to any third party systems or third party servers to get that particular information. So if you are using these other out of the box visuals, even those maps and others, although these maps are using Bing maps, and behind the screen they are using the Bing to produce these maps, but what is happening, like over here, this is all related to the stack of Microsoft. Like whatever Microsoft is providing, it is based on Microsoft solution. But although this Esri falls in the out of the box category, but it is depending on the Esri, so ArcGIS map for Power BI. So there are some challenges involved. Like the first challenge which you can see over here, that the colors which are very much synced in all visual, these colors are not synced over here. So if I select Oman, so Oman's color is uniform in every visual, but in this particular visual, the color of Oman is not selected correctly. So uh, this is a very simple example to show that in some cases it will become very much challenging to maintain the theme and color between visuals. So if you are using custom visuals, you might face these kind of issues, like incorporating the colors correctly within your report, and to show a kind of a common branding experience in the whole report. It will become difficult for you to manage in some cases, but it's a kind of additional effort required. So, and it sometimes will become difficult when you have more data points, you have different, a large number of countries. So in that case, it will be difficult to handle. So I would strongly suggest, like if you are using ArcGIS or any other third-party mapping solution, then you have to keep it simple on the single page, and don't club it with any other visuals. So it should not create a kind of confusion for you. So whenever you are using these visuals, the main categorization which I have mentioned right now is the independent, and dependent is basically the independent visuals are very much sync with all other visuals within your report, but the dependent visuals, you have some sort of drawbacks or some shortcomings which you have to customize, you have to handle it properly. So one way of doing things, like you change the color of Oman over here in this report to match this particular report, but that is not suggested, because this is going to create a kind of confusion in other maps as well, which are connected together. So for taking example of these maps, because in this particular report I have used map example, the other kind of custom visuals which we are using over here is the globe visual. If you see at the bottom, then I'm using a globe visual in this, which is a custom visual, but custom visual in a kind of a distinction in a sense that there are some custom visual which are developed by Microsoft itself. So whenever you are selecting a custom visual, then the first preference is like those visuals which are created by Microsoft itself. So in that case, you are 100% sure that the functionality or the stability of those particular visuals are good. So if I select Microsoft over here, and I'll select, so you will get a list of visuals which are developed by Microsoft. So in this case, if you'll find that this is a globe map available over here. So in globe map, it is clearly written that it is developed by Microsoft. So when you are using a custom visual in your report, your first preference should be to look for the visuals which were created by Microsoft. So once again, you are getting a kind of a peace of mind. Suppose if I'm doing a reporting, and if I want this report to work perfectly, so every visual should behave correctly. So in this case, you see that only Saudi Arabia is selected. So uh, it will give you a kind of a peace of mind, like yes, this visual, although it's not available in the out of the box bunch, sorry, but because this is a Microsoft based custom visual, so you are 100% sure that it will work perfectly, and you will not face any problem or functionality issues or any bug, or if there is any bug, Microsoft will fix that. So this is the first example, and now I'll move to the next one. Now, the second category is like if your functionality is not, or the kind of functionality you are looking for your visual is not available with Microsoft. The second category is the Microsoft certified visuals. Now, in this case, because Microsoft has given a kind of endorsement, like these particular visuals are safe to use, and they have tested it thoroughly, and there is no bug which will affect the performance of your report. So the second category of selection of the out of the box visual is for looking for those which are Microsoft certified. So finding such visual is now very easy. So if you'll go to the app source, so you will clearly see that blue mark on the top of it, like this visual is certified by Power BI, and this visual is certified by Power BI. But if you scroll down, so you might find few visuals. This heat map, although it's related to map, and it is developed by some company like, but they have not they've not received any kind of certification from Microsoft. So whenever you find something very interesting and you are willing to use that particular visual, like in this case, this heat map sort of visual, but because this is not Microsoft or Power BI certified, you are actually taking risk, and Microsoft is not stopping you from using these particular visuals, but the problem is, like, if there is anything going wrong, Microsoft is not going to take any responsibility for that. So you are taking that risk on your own. And one thing, like if you see this globe map, although this is made by Microsoft, because it is Microsoft related control, there is no need to be the certification icon. So if you are not seeing this icon over here in the globe map, no need to worry about, because it is already developed by Microsoft, so they don't need that kind of endorsement from Power BI to use it safely. So when you are using these custom visuals, like over here, I have this bow tie chart I have used. If you see over here, this bow tie chart. Uh, these are good to use. They are safe, but definitely I must say that I've been using different custom visuals, even if they are Microsoft certified, but these custom visuals have some drawbacks as well. Safe to use. And if you are communicating it well to your customer, that okay, because this functionality is available in these custom visuals, we are incorporating these custom visuals in your report, but you may expect some lags or some performance issues in these custom visuals. So there is no harm in sharing these concerns with your customer, but it's better to keep them informed that okay, this particular custom visual is best fit for your requirement, but you might face some issues over here. So the second one which I'm using over here is the word cloud. Once again, if you go and search from the app source, you have, for example, if I use cloud word, so you have this tag cloud as well, and you have this word cloud as well. So more or less they are having the similar features, but definitely some are some advanced visuals, and they might be paid one. Like this is from Visual BI solution, this tag cloud, and they said may require additional purchase. So in some cases, if you implement a kind of a free control and your customer is asking for more feature, then you can tell them that okay, there is a paid option available with another control. So if they are willing to um, uh, bear the cost of that particular visual, then it is okay to go with that particular visual, and you can incorporate that in your report. So this is the second, you can say, the kind of visual which are in safe category. One which I earlier told you, like which were developed by Microsoft, or they are available in the out of the box area, in working in collaboration with the third party like ArcGIS over here. And others are basically the Microsoft certified one, which were not developed by Microsoft, but you can use it in your report because they were endorsed by Microsoft. So it is very safe to use these particular visuals. The third one, although this falls in both category of Microsoft certified and not certified, sort of, but this topic is different. Like there is always a challenge for you when you are using custom visuals, because whenever you are using custom visuals, you have two options to have those visuals with you. One is from the Power BI directly. When you go over here, like for this example, I'm taking tachometer. So if I go to app source, and if I go to tachometer over here, so you will see that this tachometer is available, and this is also Microsoft certified. So if I'll go over here, so you will find over here that there is only add option visible over here. Like you cannot download it. The moment you will press add, it will appear. Like if I'll click add over here, it will automatically comes in my custom visual area. Now, there is another way of doing it. Like you download that particular visual from the app source. There is a download link available with that particular page on which that visual is appearing. So what is the best option, whether to download or direct installation? Now, this is very important to know that those visuals which are developed by Microsoft and they are provided by Microsoft, they are maintaining these visuals constantly, and they are maintaining the backward compatibility as well. They are like, for example, if you are improving, if you can say that Microsoft Power BI is regularly improving its platform and adding more features. So whatever features they are adding, these visuals, the out of the box visuals, are synced with the new updates. Like whenever there is a new update coming, they are in line with those updates, and whatever updates, new features and properties are incorporated in Power BI, those will be visible. Like you are well aware of this conditional formatting features which are implemented in most of the visuals. So these kind of functionalities, whenever Microsoft improves or enhance its platform, those particular functionalities are quickly available in these controls, but that is not guaranteed in the custom visuals. So what happens, like they tend to enhance their visuals at later stage, and sometimes when they are unable to cope up with the changes of the of the platform changes, they might discontinue that particular uh, visual. So there are cases where you will find that a visual was available 3 months back, and that particular visual is no more available. So in this case, like I was very much using HTML viewer previously in my report, but I cannot find HTML viewer anymore in the app source. So this is a very, as you can say, a classic example. Like you have used HTML viewer in your couple of reports, but now one of your customer is, and you have demonstrated your report, the customer is happy with that particular control, and they are asking for the same control. But once you are developing your report and you go in the app source, you will find that that vendor who has created that particular custom visual, they have discontinued that visual and it's no more available in your app source. So that is a kind of a disaster for you, like you have committed something and you cannot provide it. So this is a best option, like whenever you are dealing with custom visuals, and though if those custom visuals are not developed by Microsoft, this is best practice to go to the app source store, Microsoft store, and download it. Once you download it, you will have a copy with you of that particular custom visual. And even in future, if they discontinue that particular custom visual, even then you can use that visual in your reports in future. So Microsoft is not stopping you from using this import file feature. Like if I go and I go to import file and I go to downloads, and if you see that in download, I have just downloaded this tachometer over here. So if I've saved this particular custom visual in some of my folders, so in that case, anytime, like even if they discontinue this particular custom visual, even then you will be able to go and use that particular visual in your report. So this is a best practice. Like fine, you are going over here and you are importing it from app source, but in parallel, if you are using this particular control, go to the Microsoft store and download this and keep it safe with you for cases when these kind of things happen. There is also another example, or you can say the use case for that is like sometimes if you are seeing over here that this is the version 3.0 .1.0, and this OKWiz synoptic panel, they are using for 1.5.0.0. So these are the versions which they are using. So definitely once the Microsoft is enhancing their platform, so they will definitely come up with a new version of their controls. So probably you might face some backward compatibility issues. So using it through import file method in your report will be safer, because it will stick to the same version which you have included in your report. So if you are using it from app source, there is a possibility that those updates, those changes which were made to that particular control will affect your running report. So once again, it's your choice, whether you go with the import one or you go direct with the app source. But I'm sharing my experience. Like whenever you are working in these scenarios where you have to look for the similar control in future in your new report, and if that particular control is missing or sometime discontinued by that particular vendor, so you will be in trouble. Sometimes your working report, they are not behaving properly, you have to redesign that particular report and you cannot find that particular control. That is also an issue. So you have to be very much careful while using custom visual. Once again, as a best practice, you should download it, keep it safe with you. You can have a OneDrive or somewhere you can save those particular visuals and you can utilize it. The next one is the specialized visuals. So now, for this PDF, you can see over here, if I write a synoptic panel, it is available, but for VCAD, I think they have not updated it. There are no add-in matching for these criteria. So in some cases, these specialized controls are not available on app source. So uh, in that particular case, you have to go to the website, and you have to download their custom visual. Like in Synoptic Panel, although it is available on the app stores, but you can also go to the OKViz website, and you can download Synoptic Panel. But in both these cases, like whenever you are talking about specialized controls or specialized custom visuals, you have to go through a learning curve which is associated with these custom visuals. Like it's not, these are not straightforward like drag and drop. Like if in this case, if I'm using this one, uh, the drag and drop method and the setting and configuration are more or less similar. To some extent, in those controls, these are also available. But what is happening, like before you incorporate those visuals, you have to basically do some additional steps. So I'll just share a couple of things with you over here. Once again, as I was explaining that whenever you are using a kind of a specialized control, you have to use it. Just a second. Now you have to use it with some additional steps. Like, okay, over here, this is the VCAT custom visual. So I'll go to the login page. So in this, you have to do some additional step. Like over here in this VCAD one, I have used certain drawings to create a kind of a report based on this particular drawing. Or if you see, so there are different drawings you can use it over here. And with this particular site, what you have to do, you have to download a template file from here. So once you download the Power BI template file, it is automatically incorporated. That visual is incorporated. The custom visual is incorporated in that template file, and you can use it. So if you see my blog, I have this example live over there, and there is a blog for that as well. So if you see, like this is the custom visual I'm incorporating. So in this case, because I have used this VCAT, so for this VCAT, you have to go through some additional steps, and all those steps are mentioned over here. So based on this, you have to incorporate that in your report, and then you can see that particular report working. So in this case, if you see that in this particular report, this is actually the custom visual, which is the VCAT custom visual, which is working with this particular example. So it takes a little time to load, but once it's loaded, it can be seen quite easily. Like, okay, this image, this diagram or the structure is incorporated in it. So what I'm trying to explain, that there is a category of specialized visual, and those specialized visuals need to be require some additional steps whenever you are selecting these visuals, or you can say these you are creating report and you are going with the extended one. Then you have to make sure that you you study those particular visuals first, the custom visuals first, apply those additional steps, and then you incorporate those in your report. So the next topic is one second. It's articulated. Now, custom development is something, there are two ways of doing custom development. One is basically you have to do the pure development like coding, and you are developing those visuals right from scratch. But there are other tools which are available, and those can help you develop some custom visuals on the fly. So there is a product namely Charticulator. So you'll find certain training videos for Charticulator as well as you will find the custom development related links, and I'm going to write a blog after this session, and in which I'm going to share those links with you, like what are the best ways to start your journey as a custom visual developer. So the good part is like initially you will develop those custom visuals, and you will use it for your internal project. But later on, whenever you are working in an organization, you can share those visuals within your organization. So just to give you an example, like if you are working and you are going from you are going to import a custom visual, you'll find two sections over here. One is the marketplace and another is my organization. So currently there are currently no custom visual available in your organization. Come back and check again. Why? Because I have not created any custom visual right now, and nobody has shared any custom visual which is being used in my organization. So these two are different. Like this, my organization will show you those custom visual which were developed by your organization, and it was shared with your team to work on those particular custom visuals. uh, and sometimes you develop your own custom visual, and based on that you can use those particular ones. So uh, these are the options available with it. Regarding Charticulator, Charticulator is a kind of a canvas sort of a application where you drag and drop shapes, and you can create quickly some very stunning charts. So I'll share those links with you so you can go and explore, because this session is not meant for custom development. We are just discussing like what are the options available with you. So as a next stage, or you can say as a next phase, when you are moving forward and you want to develop your own custom visuals, you should go to the Microsoft documentation and start your journey. Probably you might have to learn Node.js as well, and other languages to work on. But that is a different kind of journey to work on the custom development. So basically, just a quick walkthrough of the whole session. Like we use custom visuals for additional functionality, improve our reports, impress our report consumers by adding. And one important thing is like you want to stand out with the normal report developers. So once you are creating such reports, those reports will give you a kind of a different flavor, a different wow factor, and you will see that I'm constantly sharing different design and different reports, and based on my design you will see that I'm always experimenting new controls. And these custom controls, definitely, like people start asking like how this functionality works, how you created that kind of visual, or that kind of functionality in your report. So that is very important for you, like whenever, because right now there is a very stiff competition So as a professional, you should bring new features and add value to your report. So people who are willing to engage you, they can take decision based on the work you are doing. Secondly, selection of these custom visual is very important, like for which reason you are selecting those visuals, and your personal assessment, like just by looking, or you can say by judging the appearance of those visual is not important. You have to go and find like what kind of additional features or additional value that particular visual is going to bring to your report, then include that particular report. Otherwise, just by incorporating a visual and unable to create a kind of a value or sharing benefit with your customer, there is no point in including any jazzy visual to your report. So your personal assessment, because this also reflects your professional approach, like you are the one who is going to convince your customer like these are point 1 2 3 4, that's why I'm selecting this particular visual, and this value is going to add to your report. So if you can convince that, definitely using those custom visual will definitely pay you, and be you will be able to impress or attract your customer. And if you are in the sales and marketing and you are selling your solutions, definitely these custom visuals will add value. Like when they are comparing 4 or 5 reports, these reports will definitely stand out, but because nobody else is incorporating or they are not perfectly incorporating these visuals. So I hope that this has provided you some insight, like future when you are working on your projects, you will be able to incorporate these visuals from your side. And there is a huge list, like I'm not you can say that whichever visuals available over here in the app source, I can tell you there is a huge number which is outside these app stores, means those who are experimenting those visuals on the GitHub and other platforms. And as I said, like a lot of 3D related controls are coming, like VCAD and other visuals. So there are so many additional options with you. So don't just stick to app stores, and go out and check for other available options. So based on that, you will be able to identify like which visual is best for you, and whatever parameters I have shared right now today to judge those particular visuals, and how to select those visuals, you will be able to grab those visuals correctly. So I'm just closing my session, but if any one of you want to ask any question, you are free to ask.
Hi, Amir.
Yes.
Yeah, I had just 2 questions, please. Regarding the risk that you can take from the custom visual, is there a risk, for example, for data leakage or data stealing?
Actually, that risk is covered when you are using Microsoft certified visual, because Microsoft is very much concerned about these things. Like they don't want their platform to be misused. So when you see that certified by Microsoft sort of endorsement, so this is a kind of a guarantee that this is not going to affect. Secondly, when you are looking at those visuals are actually giving you some additional information as well, like if there is any concern which you need to see and look into it. So that is also a kind of a warning, like they are collecting some data, or they are collecting some information from this. So they are, like in every certified visual, if there is something happening in the background, that is clearly mentioned. So one thing, like Microsoft is taking care of that kind of security. Secondly, if there is something, they will disclose it within their details, like, okay, this kind of information they are gathering. So you will be in a better position to judge, and you can share that particular thing with your customer, like, okay, you have to be aware of these and these shortcomings or restrictions or considerations for this particular visual.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, for all of you, I'll be uploading this particular session on my channel EZPowerBI. So uh, go and check uh, all those videos and other content which I have already shared, and those who have missed the previous session, they can see the previous sessions as well. And in future, my practice is like on every Saturday I'm going to spare this 1 hour, and I'm going to share my experience with my peers and the Power BI community. So you can follow me in that case. Whenever these kind of sessions are happening, you have a chance of interacting with me and sharing your questions as well. So based on that, we can interact. And secondly, you can also send email or send questions on my blog as well. So I'll try to reply to those. Definitely, in some cases, you are occupied in projects and you are dealing with different customer engagements. Even then, whenever I get time, I'll definitely try to answer those questions. So keep following me, and thank you all for attending this session. Thank you very much.